Good evening and welcome to this digitally enabled online meeting of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth, held on Monday, November 8th, 2021. I'm Mayor Todd Kasenberg and I'll call this meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note our starting time for the minutes as 7:01 p.m. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous peoples in Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the Municipality of North Perth YouTube channel and will be available there after the meeting as an archived video. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or the clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances when deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Welcome to those joining us via the YouTube channel. Welcome to councillors, staff, and delegations who will participate in this meeting. I invite your decorum over the course of the next few minutes. I guess it is, we can count this in minutes, we trust. I advise that I have attendance regrets tonight from Councillor Duncan and Councillor Johnston. Let's move then to item 2.1 of our agenda pertaining to pecuniary interest. For the benefit of those unfamiliar with our council practices, provincial legislation requires councillors with a potential pecuniary or financial interest in any item at the council table to declare this interest and move her or himself from discussions and voting item. In accordance with recommended protocol at this time, I invite all councillors with pecuniary interest, including those who have declared in writing, to verbally advise the chair in public session and to submit documentation to this effect in writing to the clerk. Councillors are further reminded that should a potential conflict arise during the meeting, they may so declare an act at any point in the meeting. I believe we have one advanced notice declaration, and I think that's Councillor Behrens. Councillor Behrens, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Kasenberg. I do not believe I have a conflict this evening.
Okay, well, thank you. I am mistaken. Okay, was pertaining to the training in the previous meeting. Fine. Great. Are there any councillors who wish to make a declaration at this time? Okay, seeing none, let's explain our virtual processes. Tonight, I'll be systematically trying to seek consent from various councillors as movers and seconders of the various resolutions and bylaws that will be put before us. I will do this to some degree alphabetically. Should a councillor not wish to respond to the request, they may say so, and I will move to the next name on the list. Regarding speaking to our business, councillors tonight will identify themselves through our conferencing technologies chat function. The clerk is assisting me tonight in maintaining the speaking order from that source. Councillors are allowed on their turn to deliver a primary question or comment and may make one supplement without intervention from me. We will follow speaking order carefully, and any councillor wishing to have a second say will have to indicate again and go to the bottom of the list. This is a normal process consistent with Robert's Rules of Order. Councillors are reminded that if I believe you're not audible, I will let you know. You are asked to maintain a mute state in the web conference until I have called upon you for a verbal reaction. Should any votes not show up in eScribe, I will call on you when things seem stalled to register a manual vote. At that time, keep yourself off mute, answer yes or no on the motion, then return to mute. Regarding item 2.2 of our agenda, I have a motion before me for the adoption of the agenda for tonight's meeting that reads as follows: that the agenda for tonight's meeting be approved. Let's start tonight with Deputy Mayor Kellum. Will you serve as our mover for that?
Yes, I will make that motion.
Thank you. And next up then, Councillor Richardson, will you be our seconder?
I will second that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's move to item 3 on our agenda, the so-called consent agenda. These items are placed on our agenda because they are believed to be non-contentious, yet they warrant council's recognition and/or action. Grouping them expedites our business. However, any councilor wishing to extract an item from the consent agenda for discussion, debate, and individual action may do so. There are 4 items on our consent agenda tonight, including the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councilors, do any of you have a desire to extract any of these items for further discussion or action? Please indicate through the chat function if so. Clerk Fairfelds, are we seeing anything? Okay, we're not seeing anything, so I have a motion here. It reads as follows: that consent items 3.1 to 3.4 be received for information, and the minutes of the November 1st, 2021 regular council meeting be adopted. Can I call on Councillor Rothwell to be our mover for this one?
I so move.
Thank you. And Councillor Seiler, will you be our seconder?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Any discussion or debate on this motion? Seeing none, let's have that vote.
I'm in favor. I'm having IT issues. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anstett. So that is noted by the clerk. And with that, that is carried. Thank you. At this time, we can move to agenda item number 4. We get to move through this item because there are no public meetings scheduled, nor do we have any delegations scheduled for this evening. That allows us to move forward to agenda item number 5, reports from departments and key staff. For item 5.1.1, council has received a report from CAO Chris Snell regarding our ongoing efforts to upgrade water servicing in Atwood. I'm going to call on Mr. Snell to present the report, explain the potential action by council, and answer any questions. Welcome, CAO Snell. Chris, I think you're on mute, or we're not hearing you anyway. Are you hearing anything, Clerk Fairfields? Okay, we're not hearing anything from CAO Snell at this point.
Can you hear me now?
There we are. There we are. Proceed.
Good evening, Council. Tonight is just seeking permission from Council to submit a delegation to AMO Roma to discuss the resurfacing of Atwood Main Street, Highway 23. We've been in discussions with MTO since 2019 about this project, and of course, part of our contribution to this project would be providing water main down on the main street. Through our ongoing discussions, MTO has been a little reluctant to set a target date. It looks like the target date now is 2024. However, it just looks like it's reverted back to a resurfacing project, which does not meet the needs for us to install water main. So we would like to just meet with MTO and the MTO ministry during Roma to have a conversation about if this project could better suit the needs of the municipality of North Perth. I'll prepare to answer any questions council may have.
Thanks, CEO Snell. Councillors, any questions or first comments about this matter? Clerk Fairfields, are we seeing any indication of desire to speak? Okay, so I have a resolution then for our consideration that reads as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth support the submission of an online municipal delegation request form for the Roma 2022 conference to discuss the Atwood Servicing Upgrades Project. Can I call on Councillor Andreessen to be our mover for that one?
Yes, I'll make that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Anstett, will you serve as our seconder? Okay, we're thinking maybe Councillor Anstett's still having some IT issues. Councillor Anstett, one last opportunity to weigh in here. Will you be our seconder? Okay, so we'll move forward then. Councillor Behrens, will you serve as our seconder for this one?
Yes, I will gladly second that motion. Thanks.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate? We're not seeing any, so let's have that vote. Let's see a view of that vote. That is carried, noting Councillor Anstett's IT problems, leaving him absent for that vote. Thank you, CAO Snell. We are going to jump through a couple of different departments that don't have reports tonight. First is item 5.2, reports from the clerk's department. No report there this evening. Next then is item 5.3, reports from the programs department. No reports there. Then item 5.4, reports from the facilities department. We don't have reports there either. That allows us to move to item 5.5, no reports there. This evening, item 5.6, we have no reports for that department either this evening. And that allows us to jump to item 5.7, report from our manager of operations. I believe Mr. Couch is with us to discuss this matter. Item 5.71, council is asked to award a tender for the Danbrook Fire Reservoir in Atwood. And perhaps Mr. Couch, our manager of operations, can give us a little bit of orientation about this project as well as the results of the tender bidding. Welcome, Mr. Couch.
Thank you, Mayor Kiesenberg. Good evening, Council. This is an award of a project of the design and build, or sorry, I should say the construction of a water reservoir, mainly for fire suppression at this point, but it will be integrated into the potable water system in the future and has been designed to do so. It's in response to our research that we've been doing with consulting firm BM Ross regarding water supply throughout Atwood, which will be a phased approach, which does include the project that the CEO has just mentioned, which is the Atwood Main Corridor, Main Street, which hopefully will include water main as well. So the reservoir was tendered out as part of this process, supplying also fire suppression to the new subdivision coming up, and there is some timing issues with it. We are building through the winter at an additional cost to meet build dates that will happen in the spring for the subdivision. So it's in coordination and partnership with the developing subdivision that the tender's in front of you as well. The two bids that were received, one was under budget at $437,000 and has been reviewed by the engineer. The other at $710,000 over the anticipated budget. We are pleased with the bids, and the recommendation is to move forward with Wellington Construction's offer and bid pricing, and to award to them for almost immediate construction start here in November yet.
Thanks, Mr. Couch. Any questions or first comments from council? Clerk Thoughts, do we see anything? So I have a resolution that will move forward the recommendation. It reads as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth award tender number NP-013-21T, the Atwood Water Storage Danbrook Fire Reservoir, as per the recommendation from BM Ross and Associates Limited, to Wellington Construction in the amount of $437,000, HST excluded. Can I call on Deputy Mayor Kellum to be our mover for that one?
Yes, I will make that motion.
Thank you. Councillor Richardson, will you do seconding duties for that one?
Yes, I will second that. Thank you.
Thanks. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. We'll call that carried, again noting the technological absence of Councillor Anstett at this hour. All right, that allows us to move forward to item 5.8, I believe. Do we remember the one for? Sorry, I need to check something here. 5.8, the fire chief report. We don't have a report from the fire department for this meeting. That brings us to item 6 on our agenda. For item 6.1, councillors, are there any reports you would like to ask of staff or of our committees? The usual approach by requesting the floor through the web chat function is recommended. Clerk, else are we seeing anything? No. Okay, so let's move on then to item 7. We have received one item of correspondence that staff has advised warrants some action by council. For item 7.1, we have a request from the North Perth Chamber of Commerce to support their efforts to execute the 2021 Santa Claus Parade, it's a reverse parade, in Listowel. The Chamber is requesting the closure of Gary and Royal Streets to facilitate their drive-by format encounter with local business representation and the jolly guy in the red suit who has confirmed that he would be here. Staff has prepared a draft resolution to this effect, which reads as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth approve the request from the Chamber of Commerce to close Derry Street and Royal Street on Saturday, November 27th, 2021, at 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. for the drive-through Christmas parade. Councillor Rothwell, will you be our jolly mover for this one?
Ho, 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 I will, yes.
Thank you. And Councillor Seiler, are you going to be our good seconder on this one?
Sure will. Sounds like a good thing going on.
All right, we have it moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Watch out for being naughty or nice. Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Again, we believe Councillor Anstett still is absent. Okay, so we'll call that carried, noting that Councillor Anstett has had technology problems that continue to this point. That brings us to item number 8 on our agenda, which allows council to consider bylaws. We don't have any additional bylaws drawn to our attention this evening. That brings us to item 9 on our agenda. Are there any councillors wishing leave to give notice of motion this evening? Are we seeing anything, Clerk Bartels? Not at this point. That brings us to item 10 on our agenda. For item 10.1, are there any announcements that would be of benefit to our community or that reflect well on North Perth at this time? Again, the usual approach to achieve the floor is recommended. Clerk Bartels, let's have a look at our speaking list. Deputy Mayor Kellum, you're first.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mayor Caseberg. Any updates on Remembrance Day this year? Any protocol or what's going on? Just a little update.
I'm aware of a brief role that I've been invited to participate in at the Cenotaph in Listowel. This is happening on Thursday the 11th, just ahead of 11 o'clock. They are discouraging crowd gathering at that event. It's going to be a fairly austere event, I believe. And that's the information I have about that. I think with regards to Atwood, there is a video-based presentation that is going to be released that day and will be available on YouTube. And to my knowledge, the Lions Club will be standing as sort of an honor guard from 10:30 till after the 11 o'clock hour in Atwood. So that's what I'm aware of. Clerk Barefeld, have you heard anything additional that would be relevant? Okay, so the clerk isn't saying that she's saying that she hasn't heard anything other than what I heard.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. CAO Snell, have you heard anything additional?
Nothing more than what you've reported. Thank you.
All right, thanks. If anyone else on council has further information, certainly have the floor.
Mayor Castenberg, it's Councillor Andreessen here.
Yes.
I just want to let you know that I'll be representing North Perth at the Palmerston Remembrance Day ceremony, which will be held outside at the cenotaph. And I'll be paying tribute to our veterans at that point and representing North Perth. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that service. Okay, Clerk Fairfield, do we have others on the speaking list? No? Okay, we're not seeing any other announcements that need to be made at this point. That brings us to agenda item number 11. This is related to holding a closed session of council. We have one matter that is to be considered in closed session of council this evening. I'm going to read the resolution that explains and enables our action to enter a closed session of council. The resolution reads as follows: that this committee proceeds in camera at 7:22 p.m. to address a matter pertaining to a proposed or pending acquisition or sale of land for municipal or local board purposes. Regarding municipal properties described as concession 1, part lot 30, RP 44R 4735, parts 1 and 3, part 2, Wallace Ward, and concession 1, part lot 31, RP 44R-2373, parts 1 and 2, Elma Ward. Can I call on Councillor Andreessen to be our mover for this one?
Yes, I'll make that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Burns, will you serve as our seconder?
Yes, I will second that motion. Thank you.
Thanks. Any discussion or debate on this? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that Councillor Ansted's back. Welcome back. And that is carried. Thank you. That means, Council, that at this time we will adjourn temporarily from our public session for our closed session. Those on the call who have not been invited to participate in the closed session should exit the WebEx call at this point in time. With gratitude for your attendance, and we are going to reconfigure the AV to make it possible for us to have a confidential discussion. Just give us a few moments for that configuration. Okay, and at this point, maybe Councillor Richardson, you can be our YouTube checker. Are we back up on YouTube in the transmitting?
Just waiting for delay. Hold, please.
Yeah. Are you seeing us?
Yes, good to go.
Thank you, Councillor Richardson. Okay. So as for item 12 on our agenda, we have no report to offer from our closed session this evening at this time. Council, as a mandated good practice, acts near the end of its meeting agenda to confirm all of its actions and business of its meeting through what is called the confirmatory bylaw. I have a draft of the confirmatory bylaw number 120-2021, which reads as follows: that bylaw number 120-2021 being a bylaw to confirm generally previous actions of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth be introduced, read and considered read a first, second, and third time and be finally passed. And that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation. Can I call on Councillor Andreessen to be our mover for this one?
Yes, I'll make that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Anstett, will you serve as our seconder?
Yes, I would second that motion. Thank you.
Very much. Any discussion or debate on that one? Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you very much. And so that brings us to the hour of adjournment. We have completed the deliberation and taken action on the business that was put before us. I have a motion to adjourn, which reads as follows: that the council meeting adjourns at 8:07 p.m. to meet again for general council business on Monday, November 15th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Councillor Johnson, since you joined us a little bit later, can I call on you to be our mover for adjournment?
Yes, I would move that, and thank you for letting me get my name on the minutes at least.
Exactly. And Councillor Anstett, you want another shot at seconding here?
Yes, I would second that. Thank you.
Thanks. It's not debatable, so let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you very much. The next meeting of council, as you heard, is Monday, November 15th, 2021. But there is the special meeting, councillors, as you know, this Wednesday evening to address a workshop that we have planned for our training and insight purposes. There's also a public information center at 5 o'clock same evening on Wednesday. So we have a busy Wednesday for those who can make both of those, but we would love to have you at the 7 o'clock one for sure. Until that point, council, thanks for a relatively easy meeting, and have a good evening and